Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're going to dig into something that millions of people feel every single day, that powerful sense of relief you get from a cigarette. We're going to find out what that feeling really is and what it actually costs.
Okay, let's just jump right in with the big question, the one that this whole explainer is really about. For a smoker, that cigarette feels like a genuine win, right? A little boost. But what if it's not a gain at all? What if you're just paying back a loan to get to where everyone else starts their day?
And look, we have to start by acknowledging that feeling, because it is incredibly real. That sense of calm, the feeling that your focus just sharpened up, that wave of relief. It feels like you're gaining a real edge. But to figure out what's actually happening, we need to pop the hood and look at the engine.
So let's do exactly that. Let's take a look at the brain's neurochemical balance sheet. This is where that feeling of getting a bonus runs right up against the hard science of what's happening inside your head.
Now, this right here is absolutely crucial. This shows us where a smoker's brain is before they even light up. See, it's not starting at a neutral, level playing field. It's already in a state of withdrawal. It's in a neurological debt, with dopamine levels way below what a non-smoker has just naturally.
And this chart just makes it crystal clear. You've got the non-smoker just cruising along at 100% baseline. And then you have the smoker, who before that first cigarette is starting the day deep in the red. They are operating at a serious disadvantage from the get-go.
All right, so this is the moment of truth, right? The smoker lights up, they feel that moment of relief, and that balance sheet in the brain starts to change. But how exactly?
Well, you get an immediate measurable dopamine release, about 8.4%. That's the neurochemical payment being made. And it feels great. It feels powerful. But the real question is, where does this payment actually get you?
And here it is. This is the punchline. That dopamine hit doesn't push you into some kind of surplus. It doesn't give you a superpower. It just pays off the debt. It brings a smoker's brain back to the normal, everyday baseline that a non-smoker lives in all the time, completely effortlessly.
Okay, so the brain is just getting back to normal. But what does that mean for your actual performance? Does catching up neurologically ever mean you're actually winning in the real world?
This performance scorecard, which pulls from tons of studies, well, it's pretty stunning. Across 13 key areas of thinking and motor skills, even at their absolute best moment, right after a cigarette, a smoker doesn't outperform a non-smoker in a single one. Look at that number, 0. At best, they're just catching up.
And when you break it down, the pattern becomes really obvious. Sure, a smoker might get back to even on really simple, quick tasks. But for the heavy lifting, things like working memory, executive control, keeping your impulses in check, they're still behind. The catch-up is never quite complete.
And get this, there's a hidden cost. Brain scans show that even to just get back to that equal state, a smoker's brain has to light up extra regions, working way harder just to keep pace. It's like two cars going the same speed, but one of them has the pedal to the floor, burning way more fuel just to do it.
Okay, so we've talked about the brain. Now let's talk about the price tag for that temporary relief. Because if getting your brain back to 0 is the loan, well, the body pays it back with some incredibly high interest.
So the first payment is lung capacity. A long-term, heavy smoker permanently loses about a quarter of their ability to forcefully breathe out compared to a non-smoker. That's a fundamental deficit you just don't get back.
Over a quadrillion. Let me say that again. Over a quadrillion. That is the insane number of DNA-damaging free radicals that flood your body with a single puff, creating this massive system-wide stress.
Because of all that chronic strain on your cardiovascular system, a smoker's heart beats an extra 10,000 times every single day. That adds up to over 3.5 million extra, totally unnecessary heartbeats a year.
And to top it all off, because of the carbon monoxide in smoke, the oxygen carrying capacity of your blood is literally reduced. Your entire body, from your brain right down to your muscles, is forced to operate with less fuel in the tank. So when you put the brain's balance sheet right next to the body's high-interest loan payments, what is the real bottom line here? What's the final verdict on this whole nicotine paradox?
Well, all the evidence really boils down to 3 simple truths. First, there's a hard ceiling on that relief. You can never perform better than a non-smoker. Second, there's a tax. Each cigarette just digs that withdrawal hole a little deeper for the next time. And third, the physical damage always vetoes any feeling of a mental win.
And this single sentence, it just says it all, doesn't it?
That peak feeling, that moment of clarity and relief, it's just a brief and very costly visit to a state of normal that non-smokers get to live in all day every day for free.
So here's the real takeaway. The whole idea that a cigarette is a bonus is an illusion. It's an incredibly elegant trap, where the feeling of paying off a debt you created yourself is mistaken for the feeling of actually earning a profit.
And so that really leaves us with one final big question to think about. If the absolute best a cigarette can do is make you feel normal for just a little while, what is the true cumulative cost of constantly living in and paying off that never-ending debt?